Welcome back to Real Questions. I'm Mandy.
And I'm Wynell. Nice to be here.
Yeah, excellent to be here, Wynell. Super excited to talk about this.
Yeah, because we're made for relationships,
Yes.
every single one of us, and I think this is a great topic about just talking about those women out there who really challenge you, support you. What else? Mentor you, encourage you.
It's so needed. I mean, women today so need that encouragement. We need other influences in our life, and it's hard. I don't know about y'all, but I mean, church women can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't always feel all the warm love and fuzzies, and so, but we need it. We need it.
Yeah, I mean, there's still those times. I think everybody needs to recognize that church is not perfect. I loved what my pastor used to say in England, and that is that he always said, yeah, that church might have been perfect, and then you showed up. So
that's so true.
When we always think we're going somewhere else. But anyway,
we're all in process. Everybody's in process. So
I think the most important thing is that, yes, you do see real life things happen at church, but what we really want to emphasize through today's show is just talking about the importance of having people. I mean, sometimes just going out for a coffee.
Yeah.
And being able to have a chat and sharing and just getting, hearing the other women face some of the same things that you face, or it's in a different people, different setting, but we don't stop to think that other people face some of the exact same things that we're facing. 100%.
And it is it's so important for us to have friendships. Wynell's one of my has become one of my dearest friends. Like, I trust her. I need to talk to her. It's important to have communication. It's important to have friendships, people that you can really sounding boards to bounce things
Absolutely.
off of. But why do you think the enemy comes against that so much? I mean, he tries to bring jealousy and contempt and bitterness or whatever, offense. I mean, oh my gosh, everybody's offended over everything.
Yes.
And so,
absolutely.
I mean, it's because if there's division in those relationships, we don't grow. We have to be able to have that type of relationship to grow. We help each other. We lift each other up on our shoulders, or when Wynell's down, I can push her forward. When I'm down, she can push me forward. And so we need that.
I think, and to be able to have that, number one, the most important thing is to know that you're in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And, more and more these days, throughout my experience, I have encouraged women, people in general, your circle of influence should be small, really, because you need to have that tight circle of knowing that what you share is kept confidential, it's kept safe, that you're not going to be made fun of, that it's not going to be brought up in a few months or a few years' time if you go through a little argument and suddenly, I'll just share to the world what you told me. You know what I mean?
No, I had coffee with a friend of mine not too long ago, and something like that came up, and she made the comment, I feel like I might have just given them arsenal, against me, because you share, you're vulnerable.
Absolutely.
You share your feelings, your emotions with someone that you think is trustworthy, and then 2 or 3 months later, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have shared with them, and we don't need to operate that way.
No.
We need to live our life honestly and vulnerably and just real. And that's really what I love this series so much.
Yes.
Because it is real life. It is real
Absolutely.
issues. We are all real people that have real questions and real topics going on in our life. And it's okay. It's okay.
And today, Mandy, you are one of the ones that's going to be sharing your story about this, and I'm looking forward to watching that. But I just want to say that I think this is one of the things that we really need to keep in mind is we must find those friends and people that you can trust. Be very careful who you choose. Be very careful what you share, where you share it. And I think it's really all about just learning that you can trust them, but sometimes that takes time. And so we're going to hear your story now. And so let's go to Mandy and find out, what does she have to say about this?
I remember when I was a little girl, very young, I just had a passion for the Lord, and I really felt a call in my life to be in ministry. I think I fell in love with the Lord the day I was born. I don't remember not having some type of relationship with Him. It was just natural for me. But there, at some point in my childhood, trauma happened. Some things happened that hurt me. And later on in life, I made some bad choices, and I really fell away from that. So I feel like I probably should have went into full-time ministry as soon as I got through college. And I did not do that. I ended up taking a different turn in life. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I really got pulled back, and that Holy Spirit started tugging me back into ministry. I got plugged into a really good church, and I started working in leadership in that church. And the Lord really started growing me in my relationship with Him. And that call that I had since childhood just kind of flared back up. And I just knew that I was supposed to be doing more for the kingdom of God. But I didn't really know how. I remember sitting at a leadership meeting with a small group of people. And we were, it was one of those churches to where 20% of the church does 80% of the work, and we were really burned out. And I remember sitting at this leadership meeting, and one of the leaders said, we really need a mentor, and talking to our pastors, and they're like, we really need some guidance. We need a mentor to kind of help us, to feed into us. And the pastor said, which, thank God for his honesty. I'm so glad he didn't try to do something that he couldn't do at that time. But he said, I really just don't have that in me right now. I can't. He goes, you're going to have to find that on your own. And it kind of stung a little bit, but honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened, because I took it to heart. I was like, you know what? He's right. If he doesn't have the capacity, and that his wife, if they don't have the capacity to do that, then I have to find it on my own. And so I started diving into books, and, mentors can be in books, mentors can be people, mentors can be all different forms of ways that we get mentored, or how we choose who's going to mentor us. At that time, I found a lot of books, and I started reading everything I could on prayer and intercession, and really ministering to me in that way. But at some point, you kind of grow past that, and you really need a physical person that can really help you and hold your hand and kind of cheer you on the days that you need to be cheered on, also correct you when you need to be corrected, and also just test some of the things you're working through. Does this sound right to you? And in ministry, it's really difficult for men to find a mentor. It's almost impossible for a woman to find a mentor. It's extremely difficult. And so I did find a few online kind of mentors that would do teachings, and you kind of sit and watch a Facebook Live, or you sit and watch, some pre-recorded online thing that they would do. But they weren't the full mentorship experience that I think I desperately needed. It wasn't that person saying, Mandy, you can do it. Mandy, don't give up. Mandy, you are called. I see the call of God on your life. It wasn't that type of experience. And then one day I was at my church, and I was sitting in the back of the church at a women's ministry event that this lady was speaking at. And I wasn't trying to communicate with anybody. I wasn't trying to hang out with people. I was just kind of trying to sit in the back and hide, really, until it was over and I was going to go home. And she's preaching, and she's like, she's very boisterous. She's from New Jersey, so she could be really loud, and she's like, you and you and you. And then all of a sudden she looked at me and she goes, what is your name? And and I'm like, oh my gosh, is she talking to me? What is she saying? That was my introduction to Dr. Jamie Morgan, who became my mentor. And I met her, and it was an amazing life-changing experience in my life. She called me out that day, and she said, you have a call of God in your life that is huge. And I knew she was right. I could feel it. I felt it since I was a little girl, but to have someone speak that into you, sometimes we just need that person that can cheer us on. She would really encourage me with practical tools. She would say, hey, I've been here before. You need to go this direction. Or, hey, you need to go and do that website, or you need to be on this platform. And she would just give me practical guidance of how to navigate ministry, how to navigate life through ministry. And if I have questions about just anything, emotional, spiritual, or practical, she's there for me. And she is my biggest cheerleader. So I say all of that to say that it is extremely important that we have people in our life that can mentor us, that can love us, that can cheer us on, that are just about being there for us. It's not about competition. It's not about their agenda. It's just about what is God doing in your life. And I encourage you, if you don't have a mentor, find one. I have a mentorship program through Media Ministries, as does Wynell, as does Dr. Jamie. There's so many out there now. So there are resources out there for anyone that is in ministry, women in ministry, or just women that are trying to grow in their spiritual faith. Find that mentor. Just like that pastor told me, he said that he didn't have the capacity for it, but that we would have to find it on our own. I encourage you. Don't just sit back. Go find the mentor that would work for you.
So, Mandy, what an inspiring story. I mean, I must say, Mandy for me is what I love about her the most is I actually got to know her through her book before I even met her. I translate books into Spanish because I speak fluent Spanish, and through another friend, which is why relationships are so important, because you have divine connections. You never know, what God is putting together for you. Anyway, I met Mandy through her book, and incredible story. And so I feel like that why it is so important, what you had to share today about mentoring means so much. And Mandy, I think all of us have no excuse for not finding a mentor of somebody that we can be, and not just one. I think some people feel like, oh, I do have a mentor. Some people have different mentors for different things, and that's okay. It's people that you can be accountable to, but people who are going to listen, but I would say not necessarily people who are always going to have a solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've had so many mentors throughout my life. Different seasons of my life required different needs.
Yes.
I had a career. I have a career. So that is a different type of mentor that I needed. I had a lot of bosses, a lot of great people that really trained me and coached me. And I think the most important thing is that you allow yourself to be coachable. You cannot walk through life with pride. You cannot walk through life with I know it all, because we don't know what we don't know. And there are things that mentors or people that have walked before us that know, that can help you and say, hey, don't step this way. Or don't go that way. And they can guide you in things that we don't even know that we don't know. But I had mentors in my career and in different areas. But I think what really changed everything for me is when I really knew it was time for me to step into ministry. I knew that it was time. I knew that God was calling me. I knew that I needed to do something. So I ended up being one of these people that was sitting on the couch going, I'm ready, God. I'm ready. Send me, God. I'm here. And I'm sitting there thinking, yep, I'm ready, God. But I'm just sitting on the couch. And so how many people right now are watching this, sitting on the couch, thinking, God, I'm ready. Use me. I'm here. And those people may die with the book still inside of them.
Yes.
Or may die with a song still not written, or a message still not preached. And it's because we have to put apply practical steps to those dreams and to those callings. And a mentor is a person that can help you apply those practical steps.
Absolutely. One of the things that my husband and I have talked about so much is spiritual fathers and mothers. Mm-hmm. And that is also a type of mentoring, but it is more about, and I would say this especially to the younger generation, is that you really ought to find someone that can help you and be there as a spiritual mom or a spiritual dad to you. Someone that, will help you maybe just learn the scriptures and learn the word and break it down, but also just someone that, even though, it can be for people who struggle, who don't have parents who are really full on, but it can also be people who do have good parents, but they still need to hear it. It's the old story. You hear somebody tell your kids something and you're like, I've only said that 100 times, but hearing it from that person, they're like, oh yeah, I'm so glad you shared that with me. I'm going to do that. I'm like, really?
I know, so frustrating.
So I think that, it is when you hear it from someone else, but also, I'm going to, speak for myself here a bit more, because I think that it's important to recognize we do have experiences and things that we can share that I think mean a lot to the younger generation. And like you said, if they can just lose that, I know it all. Yes, you may know it all in some things, but there's some things that you really still need help and guidance in.
Yeah. I see a lot of this, I know it all, or I know more, or I already know how to do that. Like if you try to coach somebody, like I already know how to do that. And it really comes from woundedness. When I see it a lot in people, I'm just thinking it's insecurity, is self, that pride and insecurity are hand in hand. They're both very selfish behaviors. And, I just see a lot of woundedness and like needing to be right. And you've got to get rid of that. You've got to just be humble and just say, Lord, I'm coachable. Lord, teach me. And I think that helped me more than anything else in both my career and in my ministry.
I think it's not only even just in the word, Mandy. I think even it's valid for everyday life. I mean, sometimes I struggle a bit with, parents who their kids just get off without having to do anything, and they don't teach them, even, I mean, I'm sorry, but even young men, teach them how to wash clothes, make dinner. I mean, they need to know how to at least fend for themselves. And I think that, that's something a spiritual mom or dad may not, hold back in saying, hey, it's not going to hurt you to pick up the broom and sweep the floor once in a while, or just go in on your own accord, make sure the kitchen's clean for mom, or, whatever. But I know it's a little bit further out of the topic of what we're talking about. But I think the whole thing is that in all areas of our life, like you said, you had all different kinds of mentors. Yeah. So there's different areas of your life that require
absolutely
mentorship and require a guidance that perhaps you didn't realize that you needed.
Yeah.
But more than anything, anyone who says they don't need anybody are the people who need people.
Absolutely. 100%. And we all need somebody. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody does. But yeah, the one's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. I don't need to talk to anybody. Yeah. It's fine. I think you do need to recognize that probably, as you said, that's probably come from abuse, or you've been wounded and hurt in the past. If you are just somebody who feels like you definitely don't need somebody, I would say, give that a little bit of thought, because there's going to be always a time in your life that there is something that you can learn, and we should always be teachable.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say today, in particular, is one of those days that's been special for me, as we've been recording different times. I've thought about my dad's birthday this year, and my dad, when he passed away a couple of years ago, he was, I believe it was 87, 88 approximately. He was still sat at his desk, Mandy, studying the word and preparing messages. And I remember I used to say to my dad, Dad, I know you you teach some small groups in your house, and sometimes he would get online and teach, a small group, and we would have a small group that he would share some of his life stories with, which he has a number of them. What was most important to me is just seeing that he just never lost that thing inside of him, that he just still needed to study. He needed to learn more about the word, and he would ring me up. That's the times I miss the most, is he would ring me up and say, have you ever thought about this in the Bible? It would just really encourage me that it doesn't matter how old you are. You still have things you can learn, and you could read a scripture 5 times and then somebody come along and share it to you in a different way, and all of a sudden it means something completely different.
Amen.
So I think the most important thing here is about ministry. Relationship, and recognizing that we need each other.
We do. Yeah.
And we need people in our lives, but we need the right people
in
our lives. And What do you think was the most important thing you learned through mentoring, Mandy? I know you probably still talk to a mentor, the same
Oh
as
no,
I
I do.
do.
I do. I share about Dr. Jamie, and she's my mentor now. I have John Bates, who is definitely a mentor in my life. And I really choose to submit to certain authorities that I trust, because I want to make sure that that I just want that accountability. I really want to make sure that I have those people in my life that can help guide me and kind of help me with along the way more than anything. But I think more than anything, what I've learned in this last year or two, where I really dove more into that mentoring relationship, is that ministry is hard. It is not, and I'm talking about ministry right now. I mean, there's different mentors all through my career and things, but ministry related in general, ministry is hard, and it's really important that we have a group of people around us that we trust, and that we have accountability, and that we test the words that are given to us. That we have people that we trust to be able to test that. I don't know, just having that support system more than anything. I mean, I literally can call up. Either one of them. I could call John Bates or Dr. Jamie right now and just say, hey, I have this major issue going on. What do you think about this? Or should I respond this way? And just having that person that is 100% about me. Like, they're not trying to do their own agenda. They're not out there trying to promote themselves. They're just like, what is best for Mandy in this moment?
Correct.
What is best for Mandy in this situation? And that trust level being there, it's just reassuring. You know, it's very
Absolutely.
reassuring. And I feel like it's given by God. I feel like God designed it that way for us. I mean, you've compared it to a little bit to spiritual mothers and fathers. It's very similar. But a mentor is like really pushing you. I mean, like, they're really like, you know, they can tell you the hard truths, and they can tell you the real truths, and still push you to that goal.
Absolutely. And it's really about asking you the questions and getting you to think for yourself and seeing it as you said, in a different light,
Yeah.
because maybe you didn't get to see it that way. So if you are one of those people, again, maybe you're a young lady, maybe you're on up in years and you've never had that opportunity, reach out to us. Let us know. Or what are your comments? Maybe you have some questions about this. Happy to help in what we can. I do want to just highlight, there is people in the Bible, ladies in the Bible. One of the ones that I wrote down, Mandy, that I think is so key is Deborah.
Love it. Love her.
In the book of Judges, chapters 4 and 5, if you want to just look it up and read her story, she was a true mentor to, I don't know how most people would pronounce his name. I would say Barak. I don't know if you say it differently, but Barak, but she was a mentor to him and guided him, and was greatly used.
Well, and if you want to think about it, she's mentored millions and millions of women through all the books that have been written about her.
Absolutely.
Through all, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's mentors in a book. I mean, if you can't find a mentor, if you don't have a mentor, which, I mean, you definitely want to reach out to us. We will try to help get you connected somewhere.
Absolutely.
But if you can't find one, then you can go find a mentor in a book.
Yes.
And start there. And there are a ton of books about Deborah that will help you out.
Yeah, and she was kind of tough.
Yeah,
I mean, she was a
Yeah.
judge, but she was a tough lady in the Bible, and that's why I think I loved her, is because she was just one of those who just spoke the truth. But just really want to encourage you, find a mentor, build those friendships, identify the needs of what you really feel like that you need or is missing in your life, and start there.
Yeah.
An area where you feel like needs to grow, and look for that. But don't just sit in silence. And you'd be surprised. I mean, I know people might look at us and think, oh, they've got it all together and they've never had any issues that they've had to face. If you only knew Mandy's full story.
They hadn't read our book.
Which, Mandy, I think you should give a plug for your book.
They hadn't read our book, Where the Dirt Road Leads.
Yes, feel free to share that.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. But it basically is just my story before ministry, of me and my girls. And it was a rough road. We had a rough road, and we made a lot of bad decisions, and I had to overcome some trauma and abuse. So no, everything's not pretty. Everything is not pretty. It's really about the choices you make and the people you surround yourself and you choose to surround yourself with. There came a point in my life where I just said, I knew that I wanted more than what the situation that I was in, and I surrounded myself with people, and I had a boss one time tell me that look at the position you want and dress like them. And I know
Yeah.
this is a work related scenario. It wasn't ministry related,
Still
but
good though.
yeah, it's good. So I did that. I mean, everything people would feed me. They gave me advice, I took it. They gave me advice, I mean, just constantly. I was very coachable, very teachable. And I remember I was like, okay, so I would find the boss that I thought, okay, I like that one. I like the way they carry themselves. I like the way they act. I like the way people respect them. And then I would dress like them. And I mean, not that I was trying to mimic somebody else. That wasn't the goal, but I was training myself. I was following someone that I was learning to be like. And so I could learn their style, things. And I continue to do that throughout my life. I do it now, not necessarily in dressing or clothes, but mentally. I see somebody like a mentor that I trust. I'm like, oh, that person has fruit. That person is productive. That person knows what they're doing. I can watch them.
Yeah.
I can follow them.
Yeah.
I can learn from them. And that's I think it's important we all do that. And if you don't have one, you have to find one. You know, if you're on the couch, you got to get off the couch.
Absolutely. Don't just keep sitting there and being a couch potato.
Yeah.
Get up and do something about it.
Amen.